she's not there either. They haven't seen her since the day before, and she's calling her friends, and no one has seen Jessica. So, of course she's in a panic. Where's my daughter? I don't know where my daughter is. So she and Jessica's dad call the police, and they come over to fill out so they can take a statement and fill out a police report. And so they're like, what time was it the last time you talked to her last night? So she tells them, and then the mom is like, she told me that David had called her and that he was feeling, distraught or depressed or whatever. He was having some problems. So they said, oh, they were like, oh, okay. And they asked the parents about the boyfriend, and they gave them Leo's name. So they went and they talked to Leo, and Leo's like, she told me that Brian was on the other line, and she got off the phone. So while this is going on, they end up a landowner is driving by his own property, and he notices that, because he has like acres of land, so he notices that the gate is bent on his property. So he gets out of the car, and he sees someone lying down. So he approaches them cautiously, because he just wanted to make sure it wasn't a trap. So when the person doesn't get up, he gets closer, and he sees that the person is actually dead. They're deceased. So they're deceased. So he immediately calls the police, and so the police come out, and they're able to identify her. The parents are notified, like, this is, they tell her right there, they found her. And so of course this to someone. He unalived someone, and they're just like looking at her, and she's just telling them what happened. So the military calls the police once they learn about it. They call the police, and the police track down Brian and I'm sorry, David. And so they're like, your girlfriend Monica said, this, that, and the third, and he's trying to, no. So anyway, what happens is Monica, they also question Monica, and they show Monica what David is saying, because David agrees to take a polygraph, but before they can even hook him up, he stops and he's like, I want to write a statement. So he does, and he writes this 4-page letter like he's a Leah or somebody, and just detailing everything that took place. So what happened was, how he got caught up in this mess is because he was on another team, and he and Jessica were like flirting back and forth to the point where she ended up getting his number. They exchanged numbers, and they ended up hooking up. And Monica, David's girlfriend, they're like really in love, like supposedly, they really, really like each other. And David, he's so riddled with guilt that he tells Monica one day, I cheated on you, and she is so upset, like she goes into a rage because she gave up her virginity to David. She was trying to, she had this thing where she was not gonna be giving up her virginity until she met someone who was worthy of it, and she thought that David was. So David ended up telling her, I cheated on you, and she's upset, and she's like, I can't believe it, and I wish you weren't alive, and I wish she wasn't alive, and she's going off. And so he's like, I'm sorry, you know what, I want to make it up to you, I won't mess with her anymore. And she was like, the only way that you can make this up to me, David, is if you unalive her. So at first, he's taken back by like, oh, that's crazy. But he wanted to please her so much and make it work that he agrees to do it. So getting back to that night where she's on the phone, Jessica's on the phone, right, with Leo. David calls on the other line. So, but Jessica tells Leo that it was Brian, and damn, Brian was nobody. To her, he was nobody either, just a friend. So he didn't trip when she got off the phone with him for Brian. So Monica and David decided that they were gonna concoct this whole plan. So he called Jessica. David calls Jessica and tells her that he has a problem and he really needs to talk to her. He doesn't know what to do. He needs her help. And I'm coming over. Look out for me. Come out. And he has Monica in the back seat of the car. Not the back seat, but in the trunk of the car. So their plan is that when it's time, or when David gives Monica the signal, she's gonna get out and they're gonna attack her that way. So And she leans her seat back, and he comes over to her like he's about to give her a kiss, and he gives Monica the signal to get out of the trunk. So Monica hops out of the trunk, and she goes to the door, and she starts yelling at Jessica, and she has this like 20-pound, 25-pound weight in her hands, and Monica's terrified, like, what's going on? She's like, Monica's like, Jessica's terrified, and Monica's like, that's my boyfriend, and you sleep with him, and blah, 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 and Jessica's looking like, she says, Jessica says, yeah, I did that, and I'm so sorry, I didn't mean anything, and I feel bad about it, I feel guilty, and Monica said that the way that Jessica looked at her, it just infuriated her. The way that Jessica looked at her, it just infuriated her, and she opens the door and hits Jessica over the head with the dumbbell, with the weight, rather. So Jessica manages to get out and run. She's running away, and they're chasing after her, and Jessica gets her foot caught in the barbed wire, and so she falls. She collapses though, and she's pretty injured from the hit on her head. The detective said that alone may have killed her. So just Monica is calling to David and saying, pull the trigger, and because he's got and so she's like, pull the trigger, and he's like, she's unalive, and she's like, no, she's not, she's still alive, and so he runs up to her and just pulls the trigger and right between the eyes. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, girl, that's crazy. So Monica and David hop back in the car, drive away, and this is what really upset me, because Monica says, we shouldn't have done that, and David says, find time to tell me. So if Monica had kept her mouth shut, not that she should have, but had she not said anything to those girls in ROTC, then she probably would have gotten away with murder, because the case would might do it again, especially if you were like okay with it, you turning on the girl and not him. But that happens a lot. That happens all the time. Okay, so here's a simple hairstyle. Do you like this? No? Okay. But that's my take on that. And it's so sad, she was so young. She was maybe 16 or 17 years old. Only 16 or 17 years old, and had to endure that type of mess, and leaving and trusting this guy, that you thought really liked you, and then him setting you up. Like, what was you thinking in those moments, knowing that he set her